Welcome. Hello, lovelies. Good to have you here at the Indigo Rose Lounge. For what? No, I heard that. So, as much as you aren't going nuts, you really are in your bath or in your car or sitting in your bedroom or in the lounge. You're physically in one place, but you're listening to my voice, and this energetic space is one I hold. I call it the Indigo Rose Lounge, and so I have some insight that I can share with you on the subject of being an indigo adult, a spiritually perceptive individual, sixth sense person, etc. Whatever your words are, a lot of people like different labels. Authenticity and truth. How do we work out what that is? So I've lived my entire life being able to hear truth when it's spoken. I never did a course on it. I think I had two groups of adults in my life as a child, and one group always told the truth. They were absolutely honest to a fault. They were authentic, and they weren't always right about everything, but they were genuine people, beautifully hearted. And then on the other hand, the other group of adults were part of the advertising, that world where truth was not a thing at all. It was a manipulable commodity. And they were compulsive liars, honestly. They never told the truth. And I don't think they could have, which isn't a judgment. I just don't think it was part of their being. They were so programmed to show things in the best light or manipulate perception that I don't think it would ever have occurred to them just to say it like it was. And so while that sounds horrific for a child, and it wasn't a lot of fun, it was a blessing because as I grew up, I could absolutely identify the ring of truth or untruth. I knew when someone was telling the truth and I knew when someone was telling porcupines. And then there's another segment of it, which is there's a grain of truth here, but it's not the picture they're showing. So there are layers. There is truth, there is untruth, a very black and white thing, and then there's a thing in the middle. And the thing in the middle is like, yeah, there's a thread of truth. Good liars always include a thread of truth. It tends to distract the perceptive because we can tell there's something wrong here, but we know that that piece of it is true. It's a bit of a confusing arena. But still, I've come to a place where if I get that sense of there's something wrong here, I normally just leave it alone because it's not standing in absolute authenticity and truth. So how do you learn to discern truth from untruth? And like I did as a child, you can get a friend involved and you can ask them, just sit around and ask them, okay, tell me a truth. And you can use a pack of playing cards, right? You can shuffle them up and they can pick up any numbered card can be an untruth, and any face card, any king, jack, queen, etc., they can tell truth. However you'd like to spin it, you can do it that way. They can tell you something true, something untrue, something true, something untrue. Obviously not 1, because then you'll know and you'll guess. But just for yourself, it's not a test. It's interesting to find the resonance. Somebody tells you something that's absolutely untrue. Just to hear that and then, okay, so now tell me something true. You can tell the difference. You really can. There's a different resonance to truth. And then once you figure that out, the next step is to get the same friend that you're doing this with to tell you things that are half true and half untrue and see what that feels like. It's really like people who take to this very well are people who are musical or who have a real appreciation of music, because it is just like hearing an off key. It's like, oh, that's flat, or that's true, or no, that's off key. And that's what it's like. It's learning to discern what statements sit in truth and resonance and what are off or are just not true. And once you've done it for a while, you'll even be able to perceive when someone is telling you what they believe to be true. So that also has a sense to it, that the person you're sitting with or that you're hearing from absolutely believes this to be true. And it feels like a short note. That's the only way I can describe it. It feels like Between them and you, there's truth, but behind them, there's none. So they may be convinced of this right now, but they'll come, they'll figure it out because it's not true. So you can really drill down into this. And this is a skill that is one of the most valuable to acquire, because from this skill you can really tell what's true and what's not true in the people around you, when they're telling you the truth or when they're not. Believe me, it's a very good skill to have when you have teenagers around, because they really try to bend this one. Young children are just beautiful with it because they can learn young. Does that sound true to you, or does that not sound true? And so there we go. We're moving into a new age, and it's going to be important, I think, especially in the age of AI, for us to be able to hear the tone of truth. Because when something is true, it rings true, whether it's being repeated by an electronic voice or by a human being. It has a ring of truth or it doesn't. And that's going to be a necessary skill, especially with the advent of AI, because there's so much AI can do to present things as truth when they aren't. So it's a lovely field to explore. What is true? What is not true? Is this person being authentic or not? And that's something that you can also teach yourself to see really clearly. Most of it comes from objective observation, looking at people behave in certain ways without judgment. So don't judge them. They're going through their process. Whatever's happening for them is happening for them. But you watch people behave in authentic ways. And you can see it. There we go. There's an authentic human being. And then you watch people, Shane, some individuals, they really think they're being authentic. I mean, they've come to this revelation, let's say, or they've discovered something that they now believe is true. And one of the first things we always want to do with a new truth is we want to go and share it with everybody. We want to impose it on everybody else. And a lot of people can go through that. They can pick up this thing that they become convinced is true, and they want to now go and bash other people over the head with it. And there are a lot of communities built around that kind of sharing. But Shane, when you look at them speak about those things, it's just not authentic. Like they're convinced of it. It's intellectually, they are convinced, they believe this is true, but it's not true. It's not coming from the deeply resonant center of themselves. It's coming from their minds. And you can even perceive that. You can start to see, okay, this is coming directly out of this person's brain. It's not coming from their solar plexus. It's not coming from a place of authenticity, even if they absolutely believe it is. Shame. And I just, shame. People get really caught up in things and they think they found the ultimate truth. And if they would just sit with it, let it settle, then it would really either ring true or they would digest it and pass it, and move along. Anyhow, that's a gift you have, Indigos. It's something you can do. It is something you can learn how to do. And salespeople, best salespeople that I've ever found, are people who were abused in some way in childhood and learned this. They learned in childhood how to see danger coming, how to pick up on other people's emotions, and to know when people were lying or not. So if you're an Indigo who's also a salesperson, you know exactly what I'm saying. You can hear truth. You know if something's genuine. There we go, my lovelies. So, truth, a great big thing to learn how to see and find. And it will serve you well on your path to love always.